Hi everybody, here is Saima, and in this video tutorial we are going to learn MS Access from scratch. And in this particular tutorial series we will see how to create database, how to create tables, how to create queries, relationships, forms and reports in MS Access, and at the end of this series you will learn how to create a proper MS Access database using your own information. So let's get started with our first tutorial. And basically you can see that MS Access is a tool that comes with Microsoft Office, where a different number of packages like Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, Microsoft Publisher, Microsoft Access, and so on and so forth are available. So basically Microsoft Access has the look and feel of other Microsoft Office product as far as its layout and navigational aspects are concerned, but MS Access is a database, and more specifically a relational database. Now here comes the term relational database. So in relational database we save data in the form of tables, and each table contains tuples and records. Rows in Microsoft Access are called records, tuples. Tuples and records are fields or attributes basically for whom we are going to store data. So basically when we are talk about Microsoft Access, the most commonly used extension to save your database is .mdb or .accdb. Early version of Access cannot read ACCDB extension, but MS Access 2007 and later versions can read and change earlier versions of Access. In Access Desktop Database is ACCDB or .mdb is a fully functional RDBMS. It basically provides data definition, data manipulation, and data control features that you need to manage large volumes of data. You can use an Access desktop database either as a standalone RDBMS on single workstation or in shared client-server mode across a network. A desktop database can also act as the data source for data displayed on web pages on your company. So what is data definition? In document or spreadsheet, you generally have complete freedom to define the contents of the document or each cell in the spreadsheet. In a document, you can include paragraph of text, table, chart, multiple columns of data displayed with multiple fonts. In spreadsheet, you can have a text data at the top to define a column header for printing or display, and you might have various numeric formats within the same column depending on the function of the row. An RDBMS allows you to define any kind of data you have and how the data should be stored. Data manipulation is basically related to the processing of that particular document. Suppose you have created a table in MS Access, and now you want to perform different operation on this table. The operation that will be performed on that particular table will come in manipulation, like you want to update your table, delete some rows or record in table. So this kind of things come in data manipulation. Data control spreadsheet and word processing documents are great for solving single user problems, but they are difficult to use when more than one person need to share the data. When you need to share your information with other, RDBMS gives you the flexibility to allow multiple users to read or update your data. So it gives you the control. You can add another other users to your database so they can update or read your data. In RDBMS, that is designed to allow data sharing, also provide feature to ensure that no two people can change the same data at the same time. The best system also allow you to group changes, which is also known as transactions, so that either all the changes or none of the changes appear in your database. So when we talk about MS Access, I have already said that you can play with these kind of things like table, queries, forms, and report. So table is an object that is used to define and store data. When you create a new table, Access asks you to define field, which is also known as column headings. Each field must have a unique name and data type, like this is your MS Access table. So it is open in design view. So when your table is open in design view, you can you can enter your field name, like here student ID. Student ID, I want to make it primary key, and from here I can select data type for this one. Here goes student name, address. So from here for address I will select long text data type. Now when I will open this data in data sheet view, uh, you can see that here student id, student name, address, click to add. So this top row is basically header row that is used to display your attributes, that you for which you want to store data. And here goes rows which are also called tuples. So one by one you can add record here. Next thing is query. Suppose you want to if you have already in listen about SQL Server. So SQL Server is basically structured query language where you can even create table using query. So MS Access although gives you flexibility to create table using drop down menus, but in MS Access it also allow you to query for different commands like update data, delete data, update database, delete database, and such kind of things. Another object that mostly occur in yeah, found in MS Access is form. Form is an object in a desktop database designed primarily for data input or display or for control of application execution. You use these forms to customize the presentation of data that your application extract from queries or tables. Forms are used for entering, modifying, and viewing records. The reason forms are used so often is that they are an easy way to guide people toward entering data correctly. When you enter information into a form in Access, the data goes exactly where the database designer wants it to go in one or more related tables. Last one is report. Report is an object in desktop database designed for formatting, calculating, printing, and summarizing selected data. You can view a report on your screen before you print it. It forms are for input purposes, then reports are for output. Anything you plan to print deserves a report, whether it is a list of names and address, a financial summary for a period, or set of mailing labels. Reports are useful because they allow you to present components of your database in easy to read format. You can even customize a report's appearance to make it visually appealing. Access offers you the ability to create a report from any table or query. Other MS Access objects are macros, modules, and such things we will discuss later in our tutorial series. So for today, this was all about what is Microsoft Access, how many objects it have, and details of about each object. So thank you very much. In our next video, we will see how to create database in MS Access and how to create tables in MS Access.